Controversial filmmakers are everywhere today, but why did Gaspar Noe garner this infamous, taboo-esque reputation in the first place? It seems like many talk about his films as if they're just a bunch of disgusting, exploitative, superficial pieces made to simply shock the audience. But this is far from the case if you actually look closer, because what Noe does is assault your senses in the best way possible. He wants to reshape the way you think about cinema, reawaken your senses to this harsh world he creates. I think it's the way his filmmaking style, one occupied with vibrant colours, memorable needle drops, and restless steadicam shots, lend itself to the extreme themes that often veer into grim territories. The marriage of these two pounces onto people who aren't careful, bringing about uncomfortable sensations that beg to be picked apart. So, how does Noe hold us captive through the screen? Well, the first is how he presents the title cards. He doesn't conform to the usual labels. It's what he doesn't do that makes it uniquely distinct. The strobe effects get under your skin immediately. The text doesn't seep in and out of establishing shots. He creates the sequence to be a grand exhibition. Enter the Void is his most famous extravaganza. He doesn't allow the names to digest. They appear for a split second, just long enough so the human brain can acknowledge it. Or he simplifies it with symbols. He even takes the idea of linearity and flips it. He reverses it, as well as placing it literally halfway through the film. All of this is done to twist the very concept of introductory credits. They're meant to gently ease the audience in, but Noe makes it very clear that we're in for a ride. What a lot of people pull from his films besides the visuals are the heavy narrative and themes. Noe concerns himself with the extremes of the human condition, following characters that indulge in genuinely terrifying fears. Through the relatability, blending of genres, and genuine shock, he imparts this sense of carnal instincts that arouse our primitive thoughts. A way he does this is through the use of human bodies. His characters undergo pleasure and pain, a stimulus that the audience can uncomfortably relate to. He uses point of view to invest our senses into this character, to make this scene
what do you want me to do?
Absolutely harrowing in its existential horror, or allow us to revel in lust when humans are in close contact.
I loved him a lot.
While contorting bodies express the freedom of psychedelia. His shorts can be summed up in one word: autonomy, aggression, illness. They're distressing, yet Noe maintains a humanistic touch. Not only does he provoke with subject matter, but he also baffles the audience with how he structures his films too. Because Noe captures the audience with his images, he can then twist how we perceive them. Irreversible is the most noteworthy example, upending the familiar revenge story tropes by showing us the vengeance from the outset. You then begin to realize the story is told in reverse order, slowly doling out key pieces of information about our characters. You start off uninteresting, then become fully fleshed out as the timeline gets earlier. Many stories blossom out after the typical inciting incident, but Noe removes all hope for a happy ending right at the start. These events cannot be changed. Noe wants time to be at his mercy. It's an ingenious method to transform the revenge film's satisfaction to one of grief. He plays with non-linearity again, but this time with fragmented flashbacks that clue us in on the past suffering that shaped our characters. Noe doesn't resort to cheap shocks. There's always a reason behind the violence occurring. You could argue that Climax officially starts exactly at the halfway point, as the film proceeds from here with its typical hysteria. But disregarding the talking head sequence, the initial dance number, and character dynamics robs it from the documentary-esque true story quality that Noe went for. Every scene is key. I think the best character in all his films is Noe's camera, an omniscient, almost sentient being that weaves in and out his subjects. It doesn't shy away from anything. We're forced to watch everything unfold before us, and most importantly, it's always purposeful. The camera work in the first half of Climax is firm, sturdy, and in control. The characters are lucid, and we comprehend the geography. When the second half rolls around, however, the almost uncontrollable, ghostly movements give off an unsettling sensation. We feel the impact of every bump and shake. Irreversible shares a similar concept, starting with a manic camera amidst chaos, confusion, and seediness, then settles down when conversations and relationships start to unravel. It feels like two different films, but the method to Noe's madness makes it feel cohesive. Noe designs action around the camera because his stories are dramatically enhanced by the movement. An elderly couple in their final years call for long stretches of solitude. A creepy silhouette requires unsteady eeriness. A perspective of a football needs craziness. The point of view camera work in Enter the Void elicits the strongest connection out of me, tethering the audience and Oscar just through careful movement alone. It's the perfect way to represent existence and place, experiencing a little out-of-body oddness. The blinks, or ellipses, we see throughout his filmography evoke the same idea. The camera is an entity, human. We're first-hand participants to the nightmare. And of course, we can't forget about Noe's expert control over colour. The eclectic mix of strong hues, spaces bathed in neon, and high contrast flashing really surrender the audience to his will. He's even experimenting by letting two images run simultaneously, letting our own eyes do the editing. Life doesn't have any cuts. It doesn't give you a chance to catch your breath or look away.
Il y a des séquences qui ont fini par durer 12 minutes comme celle du viol dans le tunnel. Les actes de violence au cinéma, que ce soit des coups de feu, des coups de poignard ou des agressions sexuelles, en général ils sont faits de manière très courte qui ne ressemblent pas à la vraie vie.
The other weapon in Noe's arsenal is audio. The sound design feels like an ongoing onslaught that's deliberately primed to unnerve. To really place the audience in the Rectum nightclub, Noe famously used a nearly inaudible 28Hz tone baked underneath in the mix to cause anxiety and nausea in the audience. On top of the already guttural, horror-filled turbulence, Noe is relentless in taking the audience's ears for a ride too. The brooding booms while people get ready on set, or a psychedelic odyssey reverberating so much more by layering in supernatural vibrations. The attention to detail just enriches the overall soundscape. Noe's fine ear for music never goes amiss too, directing many music videos throughout his career, and specially curating soundtracks for his films. The romantic ambience is created by the sensualized music, using intimate scenes to communicate narrative, while using music to communicate mood accentuates everything. Working with artists means Noe has to adapt his style to the music, which he passes with flying colours. Every trick in his backpack comes together so well to impart the feeling the artist wanted. It's always a joy seeing his experimental vision provoke a myriad of responses. It's rare for a director defined by the new French extremity movement catch the eyes of an audience outside the European underground circuits. There's magic in his work that arouses human carnal desires, enticing those to look inward, reflecting on their psyche. He uses cinematography, editing, graphic design, sound, and structure to build towards a bold and cathartic ending. It can be seen as shock value over story, and also a brutally honest depiction of humanity. He's evidently a product of the media he consumes. His favourite films, music, art, and books form frames that run according to his own logic and rules. You have to let yourself go into the colours, the sounds, the philosophy. It's always a sight to behold.
Sometimes it is, sometimes it's just like watching a cheap imitation of reality. But from time to time you see a movie that's abstract enough or playful enough to put you in another state of mind. Eraserhead, the first movie by David Lynch, it really feels like a nightmare from the beginning to the end. It's in black and white, it's mostly silent, but with weird sounds. Discovering that movie, yeah, it's like getting to someone else's head and having a nightmare. Yeah, it's a movie that feels like an intoxication.